guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. That's from a guy. He is 42 years old, an Army Ranger, and he shares his story from like 16, 17 years ago when he was obviously just starting off in the military, and how a gal he got serious with, like the first real gal he got serious with, had a commitment with, started making crazy ultimatums and demands on him. A guy who up until that point did not get into relationships, was a complete stereotypical Chatter Tyrone type, love him and leave him, bang lots of girls, that type of thing. And you're going to see the level of revenge he goes on her when she crosses the line with him. Holy crap. And I'll be going to go over to show you guys that even if you have a reputation for being a Chad, a ladies' man, they all want you and all that, even in spite of all that, you start displaying in their eyes weakness, or you start in their eyes having them think you're not going anywhere. That's when bullshit usually begins. Ultimatums, trying to get you to make changes for them, demands for this, and this, all these type of things that many of you guys have no doubt heard in these stories, or maybe some of you have experienced and know what I'm talking about. So you need to handle yourself very well and be careful about this. Now, let me tell you, this guy writing in, there are points in this story that sounds like he's exaggerating a bit, really embellishing certain things about his physical appearance, the girls and all that. But I'm going to read it anyway, and there can be parts you're like, oh, this is bullshit, this guy's exaggerating. But I can tell you this, there are things in his story that do happen in real life. One of the things that he does to get revenge on her, I did when I was 16. I'm not fucking lying what happened, how girls can be, or women can be, when they really like a guy. It doesn't make a difference if, you're with their best friend, or their sister, or cousin. They like you, it's amazing how they'll sell them down the river just to get a piece of you. So, that being said, holy crap, you hear that car racing by? That being said, you're going to hear this guy's revenge story. It is quite entertaining. It says, hello SSM. I am MJ. I've been a member of the Army Rangers unit since 2001. I'm 42 years old and I'm still shredded like Rambo. Well, you don't talk like Rambo, do you? I have never been a one-woman type of guy. I just never saw the point of it. This incident happened when I was 26 years old. My younger brother loves your channel and turned me on to it. He told me to post what happened to me since there are still whispers in Georgia about me pulling an MJ on your girl. Well, shout out to your younger brother for directing you to the channel. Welcome to the community. So here goes nothing. I joined the military when I was 18 years old. I went through infantry and airborne school. I went through RASP and started my career. RASP is an intense 8-week course that includes physical and psychological tests. Not enough time to completely dive into it. I am 6'2", 210 pounds, and about 3% body fat. I'm not bragging, just setting the stage for my mindset. Not that I care if you think I'm bragging. Well, okay, you're a jack dude, and you always maintain that, and that's great that you're in great shape, and obviously I helped you attract a lot of gals and all that. Okay, cool. But, all right, we get it. Don't need to get carried away, though. As I stated before, I never wanted to be with one woman because I was the guy they would throw themselves at, telling me all that I could do to them. Most guys probably would say, hey, that's a great problem to have. I can assure you, secure men think women acting promiscuous like that is disgusting. So from 18 through 23, I just use the women for entertainment. I can assure you that is their only worth. Again, I don't care if you agree or not. Well, I'm actually in agreement with that, particularly in that age range. At 24 years old, I met PA, that's a physical physician's assistant. She was very proper and seemed to have the same values as my mother. Keyword being seemed, or seems. Again, I wasn't looking for a wife or girlfriend. We went out a couple times and slept together on the third date. I was still doing my thing as we saw each other over the next 3 months. She asked to go to dinner, and I told her I will never be with one woman, so if that's a problem, that she could stop calling. She told me she understood and would be with just me because the spark was real, whatever the hell that meant. So it's amazing, gentlemen. I'm sure some of you guys have experienced this, is that when you tell gals that, you're not looking for a relationship, just want to have a good time, that type of thing, in your own words. You all know what I mean by that. It's amazing. It just ropes them in. They're like, ooh, challenge. Or, okay, guy I can have fun with, but he's not going to get all clingy on me. But the guys that unload on them and I want to get married on the first date and that shit, like, see ya. Again, I'm a Army Ranger going to different schools and deployments. So about 6 months in, I went on deployment. We were there about 4 months on an MFO mission. Look it up if you want. When I returned, I went out to the club with my bros. At the club, I saw Jen, the PA. She was dancing with other guys, having a good time. So, this is the same girl, huh? But then again, were you in a relationship or were you not in a relationship? I saw she was busy, so I stayed away and enjoyed the night. We weren't dating, so I didn't care. Okay, well, if you weren't dating, then you shouldn't care. If you weren't going to be serious with her, she doesn't have to be serious with you. We never spoke, and I left with my bros around 2 o'clock in the morning. When I got back to the base around 5 a.m., I noticed I had 50 missed calls and over 100 texts. No shit, I counted them and laughed. 50 missed calls and over 100 texts, and I do believe that because there are gals that are that nuts out there. That should have been a sign to block that number and goodbye. For the rest of the year, we didn't talk. Fast forward at 25 years old, my mom was trying to pressure me into giving her kids blah blah blah. Yeah, I get that one, dude. I had no interest. Fast forward, I ran into Jen at the store, and she chased me down to talk. 100 missed calls and 50 text messages. Oh, I'd run. I'd run like fucking Forrest Gump through that football game in the movie. We spoke, and she asked me out. I could hear my mom in the back of my head asking for grandkids. Do you have any brothers or sisters that can give your mom grandkids? Because that's not your sole purpose on this planet, to give your mom grandkids. I said sure to the date. I thought she never showed that she was a weak woman and cheater. However, she made a statement earlier last year and she wasn't looking for other people, but in my mind, it kept playing back the time I saw her at the club. We were not together, but she said she would be with others, and I never asked. Well, okay, fine, she was chasing after you and made things easy, and you said you saw things about her that you liked. But remember, this is, again, 50 missed calls and 100 missed messages. That sounds crazy to me. And you saw her shaking her ass at the club with lots of dudes. Nah, I wouldn't want a party girl. No, thank you. So we dated a year with no problems that I saw. And trust, I pulled some recon about that James Bond would be proud of. So now I'm 26 years old, and I've known her for 2 years and dated for 1 year. We did not live together, but I saw her every other day and almost all weekends when I wasn't with my bros or training. Well, good, you're not living with her, because why would you after only 1 year? That'd be ridiculous. And you weren't seeing her every day. To me, it sounds like you're seeing her a little too much. And you seeing her that frequent, that starts putting ideas in women's heads. That, okay, this guy's seeing me 3 or 4 times a week. This is really going somewhere. He must really like me. So now she thinks I can start making demands. You guys know usually how these chain of events go. It was great and I was enjoying her, but still getting to know her. I thought to myself, if she's still like this in 3 years, I would marry her. Everyone that knows me knew that talking like that was a big deal. Well, if you're the guy who never settles down, no one woman, that type of thing, and frankly, in the military, and being that young, and obviously what you knew, that was a good mindset to have, so they knew you're obviously serious. And so is she. Again, let me set the stage for you. I had no problems ever getting women to do whatever I wanted, when I wanted. Yes, dude, we got the point. We know. Shredded like Rambo and can get girls do whatever you want. We got it. I'm having fun with you. Appreciate you writing in, but sometimes when guys get a little, I'm going to poke fun. I would see the suckers and the simps drooling over these women, and I just laughed and shook my head. Now, with that being said, after I made the commitment to not entertain other women so that we could really get to know each other, she changed. She went from being considered to be rude and obnoxious. I'm going to read that part one more time in case you guys were distracted. He said, now with that being said, after I made the commitment not to entertain other women so I could really get to know her, she changed. What I tell you guys about when women start to have certainty with their guy. even the bad boys. Because this guy, you can make the argument that he definitely was the bad boy type, and so far in this story, and certainly the way it ends. When you give them certainty, they start thinking, okay, I don't have to work as hard for this guy. I don't have to be as generous in the bedroom. I don't have to be as fun to be around. I don't have to do all these types of things that initially I did to get him to fall for me. When you give them certainty, but the guys that give them uncertainty, they chase them, and they're willing to put up with all sorts of shit and do all sorts of shit to get that guy his attention and validation. So this is why be careful when it comes to giving certainty, guys, for you relationship dudes. That was short-lived. I meant real short. The conversation she and I had went like this. I can remember it just like it was yesterday. Now listen to this and remember the whole when a guy gives a girl certainty part. She said to me, MJ, you need to get out of the military and find a higher paying job. You need to propose to me within 6 months. You need to also have a home built for me within the next year. Anything else? Do you want me to get down to 2% body fat? Get out of the military? Higher paying job? You need to propose in 6 months and have a home built for me within a year. What do you bring to the table, sweetheart? What are you going to do for me? That's what I'd be thinking. He says to her, my response was, I haven't said this, but I'm stubborn beyond most. More than that, I am a proud man like I was taught to be. Like, okay, let me start over. I fucked that up. He says, I haven't said this yet, but I'm stubborn beyond most. More than that, I'm a proud man like I was taught to be by my father. You better understand quickly that I don't have to do anything but eat, sleep, shit, and die. You better rethink your stance and start again. Talk about shattering her hopes and dreams and putting her in her place. See, guys, even the most Chad and Tyrone bad boy type who can get all the gals and get them to do whatever they want and be shredded like Rambo, eventually there's some gal out there, they start acting, in the woman's opinion, pee-whipped. This is the shit's going to happen. Her response was, MJ, I have other people wanting to take me out and I won't wait for you. And he responded, go ahead, you do that. There you go. The shit test. I can get other guys if you don't give me what I want. Okay. There's the door. Have fun. For me, it was over. Threatening to go out with another guy after being in a committed relationship for 1 year because I was not following her timeline was unacceptable. She storms out of the room to the bedroom. Bro, I completely agree with you. What happens to guy? What would have happened if you would have agreed to that? What would have happened if you got out of the military? Okay, let me rephrase that. What would have happened if you had done everything she said within her time frame? Do you think that would make her treat you better or treat you worse? Do you think there'd be more demands or less demands after you gave her what you wanted? You guys, well, most of you know the answer to that. There'd be more fucking demands. See, this is what happens when they perceive weakness. When they perceive they're not going anywhere. Now watch what our guy does. So she gets in the shower and gets dressed afterwards. She then proceeds to walk into the living room and then said, I'm going out to the bar to meet an acquaintance. I'm now thinking, this bitch is crazy. This is my place, she uses my shower and tells me she's going to go out with another guy. I don't respond at all. I'm not sad or anything like that. No other simp crap. Not trying to sound macho, but my dad truly taught me to love myself first. I agree with that. I agree with your dad. I thought to myself, this chick doesn't even understand the tornado that's about to erupt. Well, you mean the volcano that's about to erupt. You want to disrespect me and tell me you're going to be with another guy? Okay. I get to my phone and call her sister, who's always had a crush on me, and call her over. We drink and I tell her to get undressed. She does, and we do it right away on my sofa. I kick her out and tell her I might call her again tomorrow. She tells me later and says I can have her at any time. So there's going to be guys that are going to say this is bullshit. And you know what? Is it entirely possible that this could be bullshit? Yes. But are there women out there that are jealous of their sisters and would do something like this? You bet your ass. So this is not entirely impossible to believe. Jen calls me, her name is Jen, this soon-to-be ex-girlfriend. Jen calls me at 3 o'clock in the morning saying she's leaving the bar and wants to come over, and I don't respond. Remember, silence drives them crazy. Remember all those messages before? It happens again, and I don't respond. After finishing up training for the day, I return home, and there she is. She doesn't have a key to my place, so she has to wait outside. He says, "Gentlemen, listen, never give a girlfriend or fiance a key." She's crying and screaming, asking how to sleep with her sister. How do I sleep with her sister? Well, we're done. Didn't you get the memo? You're going to lay all these demands out on me? And you know what? Go talk to your sister. Because at the end of the day, who's worse? This dude who's banging her sister, or that sister who's banging her now ex-boyfriend? Without missing a beat, I said, "Because I want to. We are no longer together." She asked why, and I explained, "No one gives me an ultimatum." Good for you. You ought to walk around with a fucking shirt that says "No one gives me an ultimatum." And I have 3% body fat. She then tells me about sleeping with someone last night, and we both made mistakes. I just laughed at her and told her, "You're dumb." I went inside and shut the door. I then called her best friend over and asked if she was hungry. Okay, you went from sister now to her best friend. Now you all see where this is going. Is it possible that a girl will have a female friend that secretly has the hots for her boyfriend and, act upon it? Yes, it is most certainly possible. Because, gentlemen, there were times in my life that I was a scumbag. And when I was 16, I went through the asshole scumbag phase. And I had a girlfriend at the time. And yes, I went after her best friend. And guess what? It worked. And that was the only time, and I feel bad saying this, that I cheated. One time, 16 years old, and I was an asshole move. And yet, the best friend went for me. So this shit happens. Yeah, I was a fucking asshole. But karma got me later on. Anyway, best friend. I didn't respond. She comes over. I missed this part. Hang on. I called her best friend and she asked if she was hungry. She then tells me on the phone that she's not going to do anything with me. She heard about my manipulation. But she comes over and we talk. She asked me what's going on between me and Jen. How many of you guys, well, some of you guys have had a gal say something like, "I'm not sleeping with you. Nothing's going to happen between us." And then 45 minutes later, yeah, been there, done that too. I didn't respond to that. I just complimented her on her new dress. I asked her about the perfume she had on, which I didn't care about, but I knew what tactics to use. She stayed for a couple hours, and the ex was blowing up both our phones. As the friend was getting up to leave, I pulled her close and kissed her passionately. She started to talk, and I did it again. I lead her to the bedroom and assert my dominance, which she started to beg for shortly after we started hooking up. After we finished and she got up, I looked at her and told her, "You can tell her that's what I think about her, that she's nothing more than a fuck." Ooh. So again, is it possible this is exaggeration? Bullshit? It's possible, because I know some of you guys are thinking this, but again, I can tell you, hand to God, yeah, I seduced a best friend one time, and yes, she jumped in on it, the opportunity. It happens. And these two, in my situation from 30 fucking years ago in December of 1994, they were like this, sisters. But her friend really liked me. It happens. And I was a scumbag. I repeated this trend with her 3 cousins, her MILF aunt, and her MILF mom. Yes, you read that right. Maybe I'm a sociopath, but I can assure that I'm not one to deceive. That's a lot of pussy. 3 cousins, her MILF aunt, and MILF mom. So you are super Chad. Again, who knows, but this is entertaining as hell. But I can assure you I'm not one to deceive. I will not be disrespected, given ultimatums, and more importantly, thought as weak. I never heard from her again, and that she has never recovered from that situation. Well, I can imagine. If you're ever in Georgia and you hear someone say, "I'm pulling an MJ on that girl," then you know what I mean. Okay, dude, this is getting ridiculous. I was in Georgia last week, and I went to a few bars, and I didn't hear any MJ stuff, but maybe I wasn't listening clearly. But nevertheless, this is entertaining. Sorry for the long email, but I was trying to get it all together. I had to leave some parts out to keep it short. However, the mom and aunt situation is a really funny story. I hope this helps out some guys. Do not allow a woman to run over you. Don't let the woman give you ultimatums just because she seemed like a good girl once. They get commitment and can change. Once you don't follow their rules, they will go out and seek attention and validation from other men. The end. So there you go, guys. Putting all the different crazy details in here, and yes, truth can be stranger than fiction. The point of this whole thing is, the theme is, look what happens when you give a girl certainty. And many of you guys have heard stories similar like this. Maybe you guys have experienced this yourself. I've done stories that guys have written in who I can think of one in particular. There's one guy, maybe I did this story a year and a half ago. He was a Chad in college, and finally he met some girl he really thought was like prim and proper and sweet. And he decided to stop being the Chad type and started being like an actual good boyfriend. And she was pulling bullshit on him. I think she was cheating on him eventually. And he was like, oh, hell no. Went back to his Chad ways. Whoosh, she was toast. I can't remember if he banged some of her friends, but he probably did. So the second weakness, perceived weakness, is displayed, the second they have a confidence that you're not going anywhere, look at the shit that happened. She was making those demands on him. And I got to wonder if this guy really went overboard because it probably pissed him off that he displayed in her eyes weakness and she pulled that shit. But nevertheless, there you go. And I'm sure he's never let himself get in a situation again where there could be a perception of weakness. So guys, you relationship guys, just remember what happens when you make it so clear just how much you like them and that they think that you're not going anywhere and they got you. It's amazing what happens. So anyway, bro, good story here. We can all debate in the comment section if all of it is true or there's some exaggerations, but I know a few things that certainly can happen, so we'll go from there. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.